folks, we are back live here. Come over this way. We'll get you right in there. Come over there. There we go.
All right.
See yourself real well. We're here once again in Netroots Nation, 2023, the 17th Netroots Nation. My younger brother is here with me. I say that because you weren't here 17 years ago.
I was not. I prefer. Yeah. I
so
confess I was not.
No, that's a good thing. Of the Working Families Party, our brother Maurice Mitchell. How are you, man?
I'm good, brother. So good to be here.
Good to see you as well. How things going with the working? Well, you folks were just saying to me before we got started that it's growing. Talk to us about that.
That's correct. Well, you know, the Working Families Party is we are celebrating our 25th year.
Okay.
And, you know, we started in New York 25 years ago. And since then, we've expanded and we have party structures in 14 states and counting. We have staff in 20 states and counting. We have activists in every single state. And, you know, for folks who don't know, the Working Families Party, we are a political movement. We believe that working people, not corporations, not the wealthy, should govern. And everything that we do is just targeted at that North Star. And we support everyday working people up and down the ballot. And we make sure that they could run. We identify candidates who are parents, who are teachers and educators, who are union organizers. And we prepare them so that they could run, because we believe that the conditions that you live in as a working person, the fact that you might experience debt, the fact that you might experience houselessness at some point, the fact that you might experience the challenges of going into the job market, that is experience that is useful in building public policy. And we think that the corporations, the wealthy, the whole neoliberal establishment has brought us to this place where we're dealing with multiple crises. And so we need a change in leadership, and that's the work that we do.
Well, and you're providing leadership even within the Working Families Party. That's important. I mean, as we showed up at the right time. AJ and I were just having way to people, AJ said back, we were just having an informal conversation. And AJ was so thorough. I was going to interview AJ.
Okay, right on.
But I know that's not really his. I mean, he's a speechwriter. I know that's not really his job. But we were talking about some of the history of the party and the importance of it. Good to see a speechwriter, AJ Springer, here with us too. So, Brother Maurice, what you just described, historically, and I guess on paper, is what the Democratic Party is supposed to be. Am I right?
Well, look, the folks at the Democratic Party have made some choices about the type of politics that they're going to lean into, right? So we're 40 years into the neoliberal era, right? And we're 25 years into the DLC era, where there were decisions made to kind of triangulate. What I mean is that Democrats decided to lean into Wall Street and to take some of the ideas of the Republicans and to make them their own ideas. The idea was like, oh, if we take Republican ideas on the economy specifically, and we take some of our social ideas, we mush them all together, that we could win elections everywhere, because we'll be eating the Republicans' lunch. What they didn't think about was, by validating these flawed ideas from the far right, especially the economic ideas, you're going to create an appetite for something. And if people have a choice between Diet Pepsi or Coke, they're going to choose Coke. Yeah. And so those decisions 25 years ago that Democrats made, and if, look, you think about it, the 94 crime bill, the quote unquote welfare reform, right? All of these decisions, if you think about the chaos that it created for everyday working people, especially Black folks, right? But also it created the conditions for Trump. So we can't just blame the Republicans on the far right for Trump. We have to blame the Republicans and the Democrats that committed to the neoliberal consensus. This idea that over 40 years, we're going to essentially defund all of the commons, defund public education, defund healthcare, defund our libraries, defund our parks, especially in working class and poor Black and brown communities, and take those resources and put them in the hands of corporations so that they can magically trickle down on us. We're still waiting for that to trickle down. Well, we're at a place where enough people have recognized that logic makes no sense. And so we have an opportunity now, because we have the data after 40 years of that, and more people are waking up, and it's becoming more and more mainstream to say, no. We're done with those politics. We need to invest in our people, and to elect people who are brave enough to invest in our people, and are brave enough to be in fights with corporations, with the wealthy, in order to make that happen.
Yeah, no, that is very important. And so for those of you who have amnesia about DLC, remind you of a few slogans: mend it but don't end it. Don't ask, don't tell. I mean, all that stuff came out of that marketing, and really in acquiescence to the whole Reagan piece. Like the country would never get beyond Ronald Reagan, so we gotta join in with that. We have to create, that kind of atmosphere. Now, you mentioned too, though. I mean, Working Families Party, just by its very name. What about organized labor? Because one of the things that the DLC did was feed into the backlash of organized labor, and it's good news now. I mean, folks are going on strike now. We saw it happen Starbucks. We seen it happen SAG-AFTRA, which I love. I love a strike, y'all.
That's great.
Even if I ain't in the union, I'm come to join the strike.
Absolutely.
Because it's just revolutionary. Good God.
Yeah.
But how is organized labor? I mean, we know how tied it is to the Democrats. How is organized labor with the Working Families Party?
Well, that's an important piece of it. Okay. And so let's go back 25 years when we started. That mend it, don't end it, all of that, the 94 crime bill, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What also happened, like I said, they leaned into Wall Street, which means they leaned away from their organized labor roots at the Democratic Party.
Absolutely.
And so many people in organized labor felt like we needed to build a different vehicle, a different party. And that's what the Working Families Party is. So in every single state where the Working Families Party exists, in our party coalition are organized labor locals, from SEIU to CWA to other organized labor locals.
First black president CWA.
That's right. That's right. That's historic. Big up to CWA and big up Claude. That's huge.
You know how many years I've been seeing Claude? We've been hanging out. I look and see a brother that you've known all your life.
It's huge.
That's a hell of a thing.
It's huge. It's groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And so and CWA now under Claude has been a long-standing member of the Working Families Party from the very, very beginning, right? Good. So it's the bringing together of labor and community groups, people's organizations, and activists, and bringing this different energy together, this dynamism. That's how you get a Brandon Johnson, by the way,
that's right,
as mayor of Chicago. The story of Brandon Johnson is the story of everything I talked about.
Right.
It's the story of the CTU, which is a large, powerful union of teachers. And it's a union mainly led by Black women. And, Stacey Davis Gates is the president. She's a Black woman.
Right. And
she's the political architect that over several years built the labor and community infrastructure. And we supported this. Like, they are our local partner that led to the Brandon Johnson victory.
That's right.
And so if you want aggressive, Black, authentically Black progressives that are every single step, if it's a choice between corporations or the people, they're going to choose the people. If it's the choice between workers or the bosses, they're going to choose the workers. If it's a choice between tenants or the real estate agency, the real estate association, they're going to choose the tenants. Then you need to build that organizing infrastructure. It doesn't happen overnight, but we're building that infrastructure so the working people could have representatives like Brandon Johnson, who a few years ago was a teacher and an organizer, and is now the mayor of the third largest city.
We met him
in our
as
country.
A teacher.
Yep, that's right.
And come and say, what we're gonna do? So I'm gonna run for city council. I mean, it's kept going up.
That's right.
We're standing outside the Black Caucus reception last fall. I'm like, what's up, man? Man, I don't know. I'm thinking about running for mayor. So you should do it. What you doing? Let's just do it. He's a mayor. So that's the power of it. Lastly, and AJ and I had begun this conversation. So I live in New York, obviously.
Yeah.
And in New York, things are a little bit different in terms of, you have the Democrats, you have the Working Families Party.
That's right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of the perception in New York, there's not always, it's not too often that you'll find on the ballot a big delineation between who maybe some of the Democratic candidates are, who Working Families candidate is. But so I'm wondering, and you often have people win in New York under the Democrats and the Working Families Party.
Yeah.
How many, you mentioned 14 states, how many races are you all winning where it's exclusive
Oh, okay.
WFP.
Okay,
Because
so
that's
yeah. So I want to so we are an independent political party, right? But we're in this very rigid two-party system, and so we have to be adaptive, right? One of the things that we don't want to do, because we're in a rigid first past the post, winner takes all two-party electoral system, it makes it very hard for people like myself I'm building an independent political party to engage without triggering what they call the spoiler problem or the spoiler dilemma, where we get our voters to vote for our person, and then people might vote for the Democrat, but by us taking our voters into our coalition and voting for our person, it actually creates the conditions where the right-wing candidate wins. That's the spoiler problem that they often talk about. So we do a lot of things. We run our own candidates sometimes. For example, in Philly, Kendra Brooks is an independent, not Democrat, not Republican, Working Families Party at-large city council member, right? And we're currently running for her re-election, and we're also making sure that Pastor Nick will join her as another Working Families Party only at-large Philadelphia city council member. So we do that when it makes sense. In New York, so how many people know Jumaane Williams?
That's right.
He started as an independent WFP city council member.
Public advocate.
Yeah. How many people know the state of New York's Attorney General, Tish James? She started as an independent Working Families Party only candidate, right? And so when it makes sense, we run people exclusively in the general election against the Republicans and the Democrats. We often recruit people to run in the Democratic primary. So that person, when you pull the lever and you could vote for them on the D or the WFP line, that is our person who the Democrats are endorsing. It's not the other way around. So we do many things. We do a lot of things. And, it's like, look, I grew up in a working class Caribbean immigrant household. And what I learned is that you cook what you got in the kitchen. And so with our electoral system, with how flawed it is, how structurally it's designed to prevent us from doing what we have to do, we have to be creative and we have to be nimble in order to get the outcome we want, which is our people in elected offices governing. And so we try to do all types of things based on the state, based on the time, place, and conditions, so our people could lead and govern, like Brandon Johnson, Jumaane Williams, and many Kendra, and hopefully Pastor Nick in Philadelphia, and many others.
Yeah. This is important. Working Families Party. How can people find you?
Sure. So people could find us. They could go to @Working Families on most social media platforms. They could go to workingfamilies.org on the web, or they could text WFP for Working Families Party. That's WFP to 30403, and you can just take your phone out right now and text the letters WFP to 30403, and we'll connect you, and we could get you up and running and organizing with us. And you might be the candidate of the future. So we want to talk to you and we want to bring you into the fold.
And again, this is about local power, even in terms of getting ballot stats, all that kind of stuff. So if people are listening and we're watching and saying, hey, I want a branch of the party in my state, in my city, what have you,
sure,
they should hit you up too.
They should hit us up. If you're interested in the power that we're building, and if you're in a state where we currently aren't organizing, or if you're curious about what we're doing, hit us up and we could talk. And like I said before, in New York and in Connecticut and Oregon, we have a ballot line and we have ballot status, and we're interested in creating more opportunities for fusion voting, which allows us to have ballot status in New York and in Connecticut and not suffer from the quote unquote spoiler dilemma that we often get into. And we're growing in more and more places. We're in conversations with folks in the South, in the Midwest, in every region of the country. A few years ago, we launched the California Party. So we're growing. And we're interested. If you're interested, we're interested in talking to you.
Folks, this is important. Some of y'all, when we founded the Emoji Party, I was talking to AJ about that. We were the last black political party to have ballot status in the country. But what does some black folk even say? Well, Mark, we can't have no party with no African name. It's in the 90s. And then we elected Obama. So it's cool. Maybe we a little ahead of our time. And folk couldn't deal with it and can't have no African name in the party, can't have no black political party. And a lot of black folk were afraid. of that. But the strategy that we were trying to implement is what Brother Maurice and Brother AJ are doing. You got to do this state by state. You got to win local races. You know, you probably hear from people all the time. People call me, man, I'm thinking about running for office. Which one run for? I'm running for Senate. No, you don't start there. You don't start there. Absolutely. You go there. Everybody will come out running for Senate.
There's levels to the game. There's levels to the game.
And it's okay. Yeah. I mean, and not to mention the fact, Lord have mercy, y'all, if we don't understand, and I want to talk to you about this, and I promise that you have this, just speedy clown is, the local elected offices are as important. Police are governed locally.
That's right.
That means you need people on the city council that will deal with that and govern and oversee the police. You know, we got some black folk on city councils who don't want to do that.
That's right.
I mean, let's be real about it. Right. We got black school systems, school boards. That's local. The local elected officials appoint people on the election boards, which decide where the ballot boxes go, how late the ballot. So that's not inconsequential, folks, when it comes to the local piece. So it's okay to say, I'm gonna run for something local. That's and right. Not go, because senators don't do that. They don't do. They just sit and languish in Washington and watch Kirsten Sinema and Manchin muck up everything.
That's correct.
That's what you do when you're in the Senate. That's right. So you're not doing nothing there either. So if you can do something local, you'd be surprised. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. There's so much change and there's so many decisions happening on the local level, right? And the local level is often, when people are frustrated about government, that's often the thing that they're frustrated about.
That's right.
Right? Your children's education, the education system, potholes and trash pickup and snow removal and police and public safety and homelessness, and these are the things that are dealt with on the local level or not dealt with. And so you engaging in your local politics is one of the most transformative and revolutionary things you could possibly do. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of times people are focused almost uniquely and exclusively on national politics and who the president is or who the president isn't, when on the local level, sometimes people who look like us, sometimes people who might be Democrats or Republicans or whatever, they are the ones who are in the pocket of, it's like the closer you get to the floor, the deeper the corruption.
That's right.
They are the ones in the pocket of the real estate lobby, for example. Like if you're wondering why is it so hard to find an affordable unit that I could live with my family, right? Those decisions around land use and affordable housing and building affordable housing stock or rent control or those are decisions that happen on the local level.
That's right. That's right.
Who do you think is having that conversation every single day with those decision makers? The real estate lobby.
That's right.
And if you're not there at those city council meetings or at the local board meetings or the county board meetings, then you're missing opportunities to engage those folks.
Yeah, no, that's very, very important. AJ, got something you want to share before we go?
It's all local, essentially, and I think the more plugged in people are locally, the more things change. When I worked for Congress, we used to get a ton of calls on local issues, potholes, city lights, you name it, local issue, issues for your city council, the county commission.
Yeah. Brothers, appreciate you. Feel free to give me an assignment.
Absolutely.
Whatever I can do to be supportive. I'm getting older, but I still have a couple more years left in me to do something.
Listen, good black don't cry.
Right. So just feel free. AJ Springer and our brother Maurice Mitchell. How long have you been the head of the party now?
It'll be 5 years in August.
Okay, good. That's right. Glad to have you there, and glad to see strong black representation in the party as well.
That's right.
All right, folks. So check at Working Families Party everywhere, right?
Yep.
And you tell them they can text.
They could text WFP to 30403.
30403. Thank you, brothers. Appreciate you both.
All right.
All right. Here at Netroots Nation.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.